Senator Fields.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to request a moment of personal privilege.
Granted.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, I'm saddened today. Colleagues, I feel a little sick in my stomach today. I say this because the state capitol is not a place for sexual harassment. Members, I feel like there is this dark cloud that's hovering over the Senate floor and hovering over the state capitol as it relates to sexual harassment. I'm saddened today, Mr. President. I took the oath of office, not once, not twice, but 3 times. I've served in the House of Representatives, and I'm in my 2nd year of my 4-year term in the Senate. And when I took that oath of office, I pledged to defend the Constitution and to defend and fight for the people of Colorado. I'm saddened today, Mr. President, because I just can't stop thinking about our code of ethics. I can't stop thinking about our principles. And when I first came down here, one of my greatest challenges was to understand the mechanics and how to navigate this place. And we do it very well. We know when the coat rule is relaxed, we take off our jackets, at least the guys do. That's a standard. That's a principle. We know that the sergeants aren't just going to let anyone just run down the center of the aisle, because we do have a code of ethics and practice. I'm saddened today because when it comes to deal with issues around women and sexual harassment, I'm confused about what the standard is. When we have silence, when abuse is going on, what happens is the abuse continues. Time is up. What are the norms that we have here? I've worked in higher ed. I've worked in nonprofit organizations. I've worked in the private sector. And now I serve the state of Colorado. And one thing that has been clear in every organization that I ever worked in is that you have to keep your hands to yourself. In a business environment, you can't slap anybody on their butt. There's some things that you just can't do. And if you do it, what happens? There's a swift and an immediate investigation. And after the investigation, if they find out that those behaviors were done, they are asked to leave the organization. They no longer have the privilege to work in the private sector if you decide to touch a woman inappropriately. In the business sector, in the government sector, or a nonprofit organization, if you touch a woman like that, you are removed from the workplace. It's just not tolerated. So I'm saddened because I'm confused about the code of ethics and principles that we have down here. thing. And who are we fighting for? I know that I'm fighting for the people of Colorado. I'm fighting for every girl, every boy, every man, every father, every person to be treated with respect and dignity. I didn't come down here to defend anyone that's not going to live up to the standards of being a good senator in the state of Colorado. If you put your hands on somebody and it's not warranted, that's unethical. We should not be protecting that kind of behavior. It's belittling. You might have daughters, you might have a sister, you might have a wife. Really, would you want someone tapping that loved one on their butt just because? I don't know why someone would do that. Why would you do that anyway? We didn't get here in our life all this time without having values and principles. We were raised right. That's why we're able to serve, because we do have principles. But Mr. President, I keep looking in the sky, I keep looking to the right, and I keep looking for the left, I keep looking for Superman or Superwoman. Who's gonna address the code of ethics as it relates to misbehavior and sexual misconduct? It may not have been your aide. It may not have been your wife or your mother. But everyone deserves to have basic human rights. You keep your hands to yourself. Members, it's not our jobs to invalidate a woman's experience. That's why we had an outside independent consultant come in to evaluate the merits of what happened. They came back and they said that the reports and the allegations were valid. But we're spending far too much time in validating a woman's experience. That's not our job. That's not our job. We already had somebody investigate. It's not our job to say, well, I don't really believe it. And when we say that, we're being bystanders instead of upstanders. We need to stop being bystanders with blinders on our eyes and pretending like this incident didn't happen. It did happen, and we have reports to validate it. So I'm concerned. What is our code of practice down here? I don't want to work in a black cloud. I'm here to push holes into darkness. I'm here to speak for the people and for the women who are still silent because they're waiting for us to take some action. I'm here to fight for the faceless, the people who haven't yet come forward. What is our code of practice? Mr. President, you know that we have lots of work to do. We have a budget to pass. And you know what else we have? We have a legacy to build. And we will be judged by our history. We have a legacy to build. So, Mr. President, I stand with the women in the Capitol and outside the Capitol. I can no longer allow disgusting behavior to go unchecked. I just can't sit around and wring my hands and throw my hands up and feel hopeless. I've been doing that now for the last 4 or 6 weeks. I'm saddened. I want the dark cloud lifted because we have work to do and we have a legacy to build. So who are we defending and what are we fighting for? when we don't address abusers, then the behavior continues. So with this in mind, the members of the Senate Democratic Caucus ask that the Senate resolution that we prepared and submitted for introduction on February the 13th, 2018, entitled Concerning the Expulsion of the Senator from Northwestern Colorado for Sexual Harassment of a Legislative Employee, be promptly introduced and brought to the floor of the Senate for a full debate. Thank you, Mr. President.